Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Girl Boss Method podcast, hosted by myself, Richie Bra. Now, for today's episode, we are joined by the lovely Rebecca, aka Fergie. And Rebecca is a branding expert and web designer. So, just having a look at her Instagram, actually, she's very colorful and vibrant, loves to use a lot of color, and actually Rebecca, having a look at you look very vibrant and colorful as well. So this is actually going out as YouTube. So some of you might see Rebecca on YouTube right now, or you might be listening to the podcast, in which case make sure you also follow Rebecca at fergie.design, and I will leave that written in the links at the end here as well. So Rebecca, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good, thanks. Loving that we're matching in our pinks.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the first thing that popped up for me actually was our clothing. So Rebecca, you joined one of our challenges that we run here at the Girl Boss Method end of last year.
Mhm.
Your experience of that?
Honestly, loved it. It was a time where just really needed a bit of a kick, a bit of extra accountability because as I'm sure is common for a lot of people, I can tend to go a bit easy on myself. Like I know I need to go get my steps, or I know I need to go do that workout. But at the end of the day, I'm like, whew, low battery mode, please charge. But having the accountability in the chat, but also the guide, like having the app to follow, just yeah, made me have to think less. It was a lot easier to get on and do.
Brilliant. That's lovely to hear actually. And Rebecca, actually, even beyond that, you're still a big fan of fitness anyway. I always see you sharing your fitness journey online. It's really inspiring. And I just wanted to ask you to share a little bit about your background and your journey, let's say in fitness. So how's that started for you? How's it going?
Yeah, where did it start? Um, it started, I think, when I had started working in a city, and you see other colleagues and that going to the gym, and I had kind of dabbled in the gym whilst I was a uni student, not really stuck to it, didn't really know what to do, didn't really enjoy it, so didn't do it. Um, and then just kind of got into doing like the group fitness classes, really enjoyed that. And after a while, joined a gym that gave PT sessions, started doing that and found an absolute love for lifting, weightlifting. It is now my current obsession. So it's what honestly keeps me sane. I've I've been kind of up and down as much as I do love it.
Mm.
Up and down on the journey in terms of like how much time I've made for it and the priority that I've given to it. You know, also, size and comfort and confidence in my own body has been up and down over years. Um, so it's yeah, always kind of varied a bit, but right now it's something that I love and yeah, really helps my mental health.
I love that. I think that's really important actually when you mention how it makes you feel as well in terms of your mental health and how it's a part of your life. And yeah, you love it, right? So how do you find time to fitness? So obviously being a business owner, we can all definitely use that excuse and go, I don't have time for it. I've got way too much going on. How do you make sure that it's just a non-negotiable?
Hmm. Yeah, and I definitely, fall victim to that. Like, I don't have time tonight. I'm too tired. I've got too much work on. But I just have to remind myself that rush, that dopamine, that just the honestly pure bliss that I walk out of the gym with. I know that I'll come back, and even if I have got work to do, it can wait for me. It's not going anywhere. It can wait an hour or two for me to go to the gym and back, and I'll be in a much happier mood, much better mental state to actually get it done and put in my best work. So
Nice.
just reminding myself, really.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important. And do you find that it also helps you with like concentrating on your work and actually giving back to yourself? Because I think again, it's so easy as a business owner to get really caught up in work, right? Because you
Hmm.
and I we've spoke, especially when you were on the challenge and you'd sort of explain that, 10 p.m. at night, you're still going 10, 11 at night, you're still going with work. So again, when we say excuses or work's getting in the way, well, work's always going to be there. So yeah, no, I think that's important, that actually taking that small chunk of time out just to make sure that you work on yourself is really important. And yeah, don't let it slide, basically. I wanted to know a little bit more about you and your business as well, and I'm sure the other listeners want to know a bit more about you as well. So give us a bit of a background, or yeah, bit about your background and your journey that led you to become a business owner within the branding and web developing space.
Sure. So I have always been in design. I've worked as a designer for like 13 years now. Studied design at uni. Like, I was quite lucky. I was very set. Like, I knew what I wanted to do. I know I enjoy like art and being creative. So let me try and find a career in what I am enjoying and good at, or think I was good at. After working, in all these different corporate jobs, I've worked in agencies. I've worked in investment banking, of all things, as a designer. Worked
Wow.
in
Okay.
tech
Interesting.
consulting. Yeah, really different. And it's all been really great. I've worked with such a wealth of different kind of corporations and brands, but there was always that feeling of wanting to go out on my own. Of like, yeah, one day I'm going to have my own business, my own agency, and I'm going to do the same design work I do, but just for my own clients or for companies I want to work with or work for. And yeah, I mean, last year everybody saw what was happening in the tech world. It was a bit unstable. I just thought, you know what? It's opportunity for me to, I keep saying I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Let me take this opportunity and leap of faith in myself and go all in and just make it work.
Yeah. What do you
Um,
mean by everything going on in the tech world?
yeah, so with the tech world last year, it was getting kind of shaky. There was a lot of change, lots of layoffs, um, which all started with like, the bigger companies like Twitter and Facebook and the likes. Um, it trickled down a little bit into other tech firms, just because of like lower demand for the work, or people starting to do companies that we would normally work with starting to do things in-house. And that was, I say we, very generally, very broad brushing. And I just thought, you know what, I don't want to put myself in any risky position.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been saying I want to do this and go out on my own. Let me just do it now, and let's see what happens. Ride the wave.
Oh, amazing. It looks like you're absolutely killing it and smashing it for sure, definitely. Um, yeah, I think there's nothing like running your own business the way that you want, and again, working with the brands and the clients that you want to, and actually really having an impact. And I think what's really interesting about business is that when you are a business owner, whether that's you on your own or you're part of a team and you call the shots, like you literally have the freedom to help people in the way that you want. I've got something in my eye.
Oh no.
You've got the freedom to help people in the way that you want to help them. And I feel like when it's like 9 to 5 and it's like, right, this is your job role, these are the things that you do, you're limited. Like
Yeah.
right now, if we wanted to swear on this podcast, we could, because it's mine. But do you see what I mean? Like you are representing yourself and the vision that you have for your business, and I think that's just really important. And yeah, just having that freedom, doing something that you love. And it's similarly for me as well. I always found, Rebecca, that working within the fitness industry, when I worked for other people, it was always done in their way, which was fine. That was their business. But I've had the opportunity to see the way they've done it. There's always been things that I've wanted to do, but I've not been able to because of the remit that I've been stuck within. Like, well, no, this is your job role. You don't help with nutrition
Yeah.
because actually right now you're employed as a Pilates instructor, or you can't do X because we have someone else that does that already. So I think that's just really, really interesting in that respect. And also being able to communicate with your clients. Like for you now, if you had a client that wanted to talk to you on a Sunday, albeit Sunday might be your like day of rest, things can wait. But if
Mhm.
it was urgency, you'd have the ability to actually just take a couple of minutes out and reply to a message, right?
Yeah,
um
100%.
whereas 9 to 5 you can't. So no, I love that for you, definitely. And I yeah, something I can definitely relate to, although we're like, worlds apart in what we do. So yeah, I mean, what about your fitness like routine and your like your overall like fitness, well-being, nutrition? When we think about that lifestyle overall, how does it impact your productivity and your creativity within your business?
This is a good one. I
Yeah, just stop
I
and think.
yeah, I'm stopping thinking like, I was really guilty of not making, my nutrition a priority when I was
Mhm.
working my 9 to 5. I was always so busy, you're blocked in with constant meetings, workshops, having to do the work, all the things. Lunch was, what can I quickly grab? What can I quickly order? Depending whether I'm working from home, depending whether I'm in an office. It was just what's around. Or did I even have time the night before to prep something to bring it in or throw in my backpack? Um, so really, really different, not as good as it should have been.
Yeah.
Whereas now, being able to set my own time, be in total control of my schedule, I can, you know, decide, okay, I'm waking up this morning, you know what, I am going to actually cook or prepare some sort of breakfast. I'm not just going to have a yogurt or some granola. I'm going to have something different. It takes a bit more time because I have the time. I'm in charge of my time. Similar with lunch, like I can block out my time and be like, right, I'm going to actually prep some food. I might be able to set up and, put a slow cooker on so that I know by the end of my day I've got something nutritious to eat. Um, just having the time, being able to change, almost like change of pace,
Yeah.
is so much easier, and it's had such a, I'd say, a positive effect
Mm.
on like concentration for sure, and the hanger, right? I've definitely I'm someone who gets like hangry if I'm skipping too many meals or not eating enough and having to just work. I'm not going to do my best work, especially because creativity is not just something that can always just happen. You've kind of got to be in like the right state of mind and be like in flow, uh, to really do my best work. I've found that focusing on what I'm eating, so for me during the day, having less carbs means I'm less sleepy. So like having a really great salad, like a huge salad with like protein and everything in it, is perfect for me for lunchtime. If I have something really carby, really stodgy, oof, I'm gonna want an afternoon nap.
Yeah.
Which is fine, totally fine. But yeah, having worked on that a bit more has definitely, I think, improved concentration
Mm.
and focus.
Yeah, definitely. But just sort of adding to that, you don't neglect the carbs because you use them
No,
for your fuel, don't you? For your
yeah,
sessions, right?
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's
exactly.
brilliant. That's excellent. So do you feel like you faced any, so obviously you went from being employed and you went in and you've set up your own business. Was there a was fitness a part of that work 9 to 5 before, or was it something that you implemented after? And if it was part of your 9 to 5, how did you ensure that you kept that up without letting it slide as you started to build your business?
Yeah, so it's something I did have during my 9 to 5. Maybe not as much as I do now.
Mhm.
Um, but I would try to keep myself accountable and not kind of quit or skip it by having PT sessions or going to like a group class where I can't cancel it.
Mhm.
So unless I'm like cancelling it so many hours beforehand, I'm locked in, and then it's like, oh, I've got, I feel that accountability of, well, I've got to show up now. Um, for me, that works
Scheduled
really
in your
well.
diary.
Yeah, scheduled, knowing that anything from, for me, having doing it later, I'm not a morning person. I'm like the worst morning person ever. I'm so slow, I'm so sleepy, but I'm a big night owl. So I know for me, scheduling in a workout 7 p.m. onwards, perfect. I will always be able to fit that in. If I try and squeeze it earlier, might have a call that overruns, there might be an extra meeting thrown in last minute at the end of the day. Like it could get a bit chaotic.
Yeah.
So I just had to kind of adjust and like really schedule it in. Otherwise, yeah, it just wouldn't
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. No, do you know what? I feel you on that as well, because you know, although I work in fitness, I'm not centered or set in a gym
Mm.
with my online business. So it definitely has to be something that is scheduled in, even for me. So yeah, people often think, or they think that, you know, even when I was personal training, they would think that, wow, you must be getting fit all day long. But you're not. You're doing it for everybody else, but you've still got to go and find the motivation as well. And we all do, you know. So even if it is something that's your career or not, I think it's important that we schedule it in. Yeah.
100%.
Has there been like a point within your fitness journey that you ever felt like you were maybe even doing the wrong thing? Like, have you ever stumbled across strange, I don't know, strange diets or weird like fitness things that you started and somebody had told you, yeah, this is the way forward, and then you realize, well, actually it's not? I mean, what's your experience with that?
Yeah, all sorts. I've not really been one to be big on fad diets purely because I have like intolerances, so it just makes everything complicated. I'm like, no, let me try not to dive too much into that and restrict even more. Um, but I've definitely been given weird advice at certain points. Like I had um someone who worked, I don't know if they were actually a PT, they weren't a PT for me, and they must have been a PT generally within the gym at the time. That I just was friendly with, struck up conversation, that kind of thing. And I was like complaining that I wanted to see more of a difference with what I was doing with my workouts. I wanted to lose more weight. Um, and they had given me some advice around calories and how much I should limit my calories down to something like 1200 a day. And at the time, I didn't know any better. So
Mm-hmm.
it was, eating no carbs for breakfast, just having protein. So just having like salmon and eggs or salmon and cress. That was a weird phase that I went to, like
Whoa.
salmon and cress for breakfast. Weird, like very weird, right? Especially to say, I'm like, yeah, I did that. Um, and still trying to do workouts and everything. And I mean, it worked. I lost like 5 kilos in a week, but that was like, whoa, that
How did you
crazy.
feel though? But how did you feel? And was it sustainable?
Oh no, it wasn't sustainable at all. Like at all. Because, I was having to like count out 5 almonds for a snack. And I was like, I don't even like almonds. Why am I eating these things? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is so sad. It just didn't it just made you feel really sad inside, like, oh yeah, it's snack time. Oh, almonds. Um, yeah, was not the one. Gave me a result, but it was just a crash diet for like a week. It just, wasn't sustainable
Mhm.
to keep eating like that and keep the weight off. Yeah, I've also
Did
had phases
those,
of
yeah.
sorry,
I was just going to say, did those results last for you, or was it literally
no,
just back to square one once you sort of had that effect?
yeah, it didn't stay off. It's after a few weeks kind of came back, maybe not as high, but didn't keep the full amount off. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I've had my phase of working out too much because it was now reflecting on it, a period of life that I just was so unhappy, was so like had nothing else to do. So just like threw myself into the gym, was
Yeah.
working out 2, 3 times a day, 5 times a week, because I would just, yeah, it was quite sad, but didn't realize it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And that, yeah, that's really interesting, because I think quite often people never think that there's an issue with overtraining, but there definitely is. And
Mm.
again, it could be like anything that you find like addictive, right? There's something that you're masking. There's an area of your life that you're trying to, I don't know, avoid facing. Um, so yeah, I mean, 3 times a week. I don't even know bodybuilders. I mean, 3 times a day. I don't know bodybuilders that do that, or professional athletes. I mean, I'm sure there are professional athletes that literally are in the gym
Mm.
3 times a day. Yeah, I do remember. I do remember seeing that. Um, okay, has there been like a point in your fitness journey that you say has had like a significant impact on your life? Has there been Any sort of turning point for you?
I think fitness kind of went from being something I focused on so much to control how I looked rather than using it as something to help how I feel. Um, and that for me was a bit of a change of mindset over the past maybe 3 years. So since,
Mhm.
like since pandemic times. Um, yeah, I think post pandemic it was more about how do I feel? I want to feel good. I want to feel more energized. Just want to look after myself, be healthy, live long.
Yeah. It's interesting though, the pandemic times, how much it affected every single one of us in so many
Mm,
different ways. But it's just so interesting listening to, everyone's experiences on that. Um, yeah. Any particular inspiration or, I don't know, advice that you can give to anyone that's like listening in and thinking about starting their fitness journey? Maybe they feel lost at the moment. They're not really sure what to do with themselves. They've got a goal. And again, maybe they've been lured into a no carb, extremely low calorie diet, or working out 3 times a week or 3 times a day.
don't do any of that, please. Please don't. Learn from my mistakes. Um, I think my advice would be find something you love. Like fitness is not like a one shape, one size. Maybe you're into running. Maybe you try running and you're like, yeah, that's good. And you can just run around beautiful parks or something. Maybe running is not for you. Running is not for me. My asthmatic lungs cannot handle it. So that was ruled out very early for me. I really enjoyed like group classes in a gym. For me, that was something I found out that I quite liked doing all sorts of things, especially like HIIT and circuits. Like I really got into that. But maybe, you want to try like a boxing or a Muay Thai kind of
Mm.
class. Maybe it's Pilates, reformer Pilates. That is amazing. And I think people don't realize how much of a workout, something like reformer Pilates is. To me, that's just as much as me going to any other class. Which is such a nice thing that, fitness has all these variations that you can find something that you like. Yeah, for me, what I fell in love with was weightlifting. I still have to do my cardio, obviously, but yeah, that's for me. That's the thing I really enjoy, seeing the progress, making these little achievements.
Yeah, no, good. Absolutely love it. And looking ahead, what sort of future goals have you got, or are you working towards in business and then let's say like fitness as well? What does the future look like for Fergie?
I think I really want the future to kind of be quite entwined with like business and fitness. Um, it's something I want to be able to just pick up my gym bag and go out whenever I feel like I want to do a workout, whether that's middle of the day, middle of the afternoon, nighttime, whatever. It's something I want it to just, yeah, cohesively just fit into the schedule and the lifestyle. Um, Goal wise, being stronger, being fitter, yeah, just being confident in myself. And business wise, I mean, taking over the design world would be great.
Mm.
Um, but no, honestly, just building the business up, like it is, um, has has a way to go. I have quite a vision for it growing into something a lot bigger than what it is now. Um, Speaking at more events, maybe holding my own events for other designers to come to. Uh,
Amazing. That sounds really
yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
all sorts.
Yeah. And have you ever spoke at an event before?
Yeah, I've done quite a few actually. Adobe have a big design conference like once a year. I've been quite lucky to speak at that for like past 3 years, which was amazing. Fingers crossed I'll go again this year. Who knows?
Yeah.
And a few other sort of like roundtable, smaller in-person events. Yeah, just I
Cool.
love to share. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I look forward to hearing some updates on that. Actually, that sounds good. There's, 2024, we're still at the beginning, so there's still lots to conquer. So I wanted to ask you one final question. Have you ever had a workout mishap or like funny gym moment that you'd be willing to share with us?
Oh, this is a good one. I miss that. One that was quite funny at the time, and the PT I was training with cracked out laughing. For context, I had quite tight hamstrings at the time.
Mm.
I didn't know this. I was just doing a workout.
Mhm.
And I was told, okay, go and do single leg glute bridges, but where your foot is not on the ground, you're elevated on the box.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can do bridges, no problem. When I tell you, I shrieked because my hamstring decided to like lock and just spasm with so much pain that everybody kind of looked around and was like, what is happening? And I've just kind of rolled, like just like let go completely, landed back on the floor, rolled into a fetal position, like laughing and crying at myself because this muscle has just gone, rah, no.
Oh man.
It's terrible.
Oh yeah, not fun. I can't say that I've experienced a hamstring thing myself, actually, not cramping. Yeah, I don't think that's a tight area for me. But I've got a few over the years anyway.
Yeah.
I've definitely like tripped up over things, or I broke my glass. I stepped on my own glasses once. I've given myself other like funny bruises or silly injuries. I think I've like moved some really heavy weights and caught my finger between where the rack is and the weight, and like had my finger blow up and big and bruised. I've had a situation where I was hip thrusting and not had a proper pad over the bar, used a mat clearly wasn't padded enough, ended up with bruising. So just lots of little silly things like that for sure. Yeah, that's all we've got time for now. Rebecca, thank you so much. Was there anything else that you wanted to like share in terms of like fitness or business?
Fitness wise, just find something you love. Don't be put off by what people say. You know, if I were put off by what people said about women lifting, I never would have done it. And now, you know, I'm lifting crazy kilos and I enjoy it. And business wise, yeah, I mean, take a leap of faith in yourself. You know, if anyone else listening is really wanting to start their own business, you know, start if you can on the side of a full-time job, like start to build things up slowly, so you're not just starting from zero when you can kind of go full in. Yeah.
Brilliant. Love that. Thank you so much. For those of you that have been listening, if you've just stumbled across this podcast, this has been the Girl Boss Method. We've had Fergie, or Rebecca. I keep calling you Fergie today. I've never called you that before, but we've had Rebecca today talking about branding, web designing, her business and fitness and everything. And if you'd like to follow her on Instagram, you can find her at fergie.design. And we'll see you here next time. Thank you.